Unbridled joy from the Portuguese Bernardo Silva. Last year's beaten finalists Manchester City hosted European giants Real Madrid in an eagerly anticipated first-leg semi-final clash in the UEFA Champions League earlier today. And even before we provide you with the highlights, let me say this on behalf of the team. You're welcome.
The choice whether to join in or not. What are we going to see, Stuart? What do you feel? What's your gut feeling about this one?
Well, my gut feeling is that Manchester City will try and dominate possession, as they always do. Real Madrid won't press the ball too high up the field.
Here's Mahrez, who's having a fantastic season. It's a clever ball, and it's a goal. The diving header from Kevin De Bruyne. What a start for Manchester City.
Watch how he just goes in between the couple of challenges here. Gets it onto his left foot. He sees the run of Kevin De Bruyne, who's onside, and Carvajal can't quite get there. It's well-timed run, brilliant from Mahrez.
That's good work by Foden. By De Bruyne, and it must be two. Put away by the man in form.
Jesus gets that bit of luck, but there's nothing lucky about the finish. He's got a lot of goal to aim for, but he keeps his composure. And what a brilliant start this is for the home side, Manchester City.
In the Premier League game against Liverpool, Edison cleared the ball right on the line, but here comes City again looking for number 3. Mahrez with his right foot. Well, great passing here. Here comes Foden. Is it 3? No. Vinicius Junior's charging in at him. Touch from Valverde. Benzema. Break Modric's way. He makes sure it does. Here's Mendy. Good spell, better spell. Had to get better for Real Madrid. And when you've got Benzema, you've always got a chance. It's yet another goal for this fabulous man from France.
Just gets his laces onto it. Yes, Zinchenko should be round the other side. He's got to work harder to get the other side of Benzema, but it's a very good finish.
Gabriel Jesus, Mahrez. In for... Oh, hits the post. Foden hits the defender on the line. Back with De Bruyne. Is that going to be another one that City have let slip? Riyad Mahrez raced away. Fernandinho's loving this. Roaring forward again, and Foden knocks in the header. It is 3-1.
Foden gets inside Carvajal, who was already high up the field when Real Madrid gave it away. Can't get back in, and he heads it back across Courtois. No chance for the goalkeeper.
So now in the bad books of the Romanian referee.
Just going back to what I was saying, Mendy, poor play from him. He underhit the ball to Vinicius Junior, then dived into the challenge against Mahrez, so Fernandinho had space in behind him.
Bypass this time. Benzema trying to take up a position, but Vinicius Junior goes all the way, all the way. It's a splendid response from a player who's a bit culpable with the goal scored at the other end. He's too quick for the covering defenders.
The player that should have gone across, in my view, was Laporte. He ran alongside Benzema. The holding midfield player, Rodri, was never going to get there. Although he gets tight to it.
Wasn't the safest header. Attempted header by Ruben Diaz. And Rodrigo might be able to cash in on this. Oh. Rodri. Zinchenko, they work it right, they work it left. Zinchenko, over the leg of Kroos. And it led to a goal for Bernardo Silva. So the patience paid off. It led to a piece of penetration here that gives City a 2-goal advantage again.
There's the referee just about to put the whistle in his mouth, or does put the whistle in his mouth, doesn't blow up. Camavinga stops playing. Carvajal doesn't get tight enough, but Bernardo Silva, what a finish that is, in at the near post.
So have been joyous to watch because there are so many good attackers, one of whom is Riyad Mahrez, who's weaving away through here and couldn't quite find the angle at the end of a mesmerising run.
Militao, the biggest threat in the air.
Close takes towards Benzema. Fernandinho got his head to it. And there's the referee given a penalty. What happened last week? He's not ducking the issue, taking on the responsibility. Karim Benzema just lifts it over Ederson. How about that? Emphasising the Champions League confidence of Real Madrid's great goal scorer, arguably the greatest forward in the world at the moment.
What a game this has been.
And it's not over yet. 14 in the Champions League for Benzema this season. 41. Fourth added minute. And still Real Madrid. Well, one or two of the Real Madrid players looking to go forward. Well, a fantastic start to the semi-finals. Great respect between Carlo Ancelotti and Pep Guardiola.
The great thing about this tie is that it's only half-time. There's a full game left to be played at the Bernabeu in 6 days' time. And, yeah, well, to be played next week Wednesday, so there you go, all right? So, we were supposed to have Brent Sancho to carve this up with us, but Brent is unavailable for the moment, which leaves the task to us here on set. What did you think about that 7-goal thriller?
Well, exactly what you said. It was a thriller. It was a match that you couldn't really take your eyes off the television screen, not even for a second, because you saw in the 90th second is when Kevin De Bruyne had that opener goal. Everybody in the office began roaring. And the thing is, the one that I was looking at the match on was a delayed version. So every time you all roared in the office, I knew what was coming.
Every time they roared, yeah.
You were reacting.
I roared for Real Madrid, but yeah, point taken.
Yeah, honestly, it had everything in the match. What I will say, though, is going into the second leg, based on what we saw today, I will say, although the score is 4-3, to me it feels equalized. It feels as if, it can turn into any one of the team's favour. Obviously, we all know, public knowledge, that I wanted to go into Manchester City's favour. But based on what we saw today, the momentum is on both teams.
Well, the main thing for me today, both teams looked as if they had holes in their defence.
Yeah.
Real Madrid in particular, which is one of the reasons why we saw 7 goals today. I know sometimes when goals are scored, George and Mariah, we dissect the goals and analyse why the goals were scored. But the first 2 Man City goals, pretty early in the game, looked preventable if you looked at what the Real Madrid defenders were doing. And I would think that Ancelotti would be furious at his defenders for how they started the game. Mahrez did well, to be fair. The way he cut in and swiveled through the Real Madrid defenders was really good work by him. But at this level, those are 4 or 5 defenders close to him. I just thought he got through a little too easy there. And then De Bruyne appeared on the back post without a marker. So Real Madrid started on the back foot. And that's part of the reason why they lost. Yeah, if we go back to what you say is so true, and we can analyze the goals. If we go back to, well, we see the replay of this first goal. Yeah. Bearing you out, and we'll do some freeze framing, Mr. Producer, to highlight certain points. Yes. But if we look at the goal, there were several players attracted to Mahrez's style of the field. Yes. Nobody managed to put in a tackle because, of course, he was swiveling this way and that. If we let it run, just let it run for the moment until he cuts in. Look at him, stop right here. So there are 5 Real Madrid players with Mahrez in the pocket. Yes. Yeah? At the top of the screen, De Bruyne is just about approaching the D, and there's a man, I can't make out quite who that is, a Real Madrid man who's seeing Mahrez, but he's not interested in seeing De Bruyne rather, but he's not interested in tracking that De Bruyne run. Meanwhile, if we let it run, Mahrez does his stuff. If we let it run, right. So he comes in here. Stop right there. De Bruyne sets off, and his marker, the Real Madrid man who has eyes on him, does not yet react to the possibility that Mahrez can find it. Remember now, at this point, note, at this point in the play, Riyad Mahrez
is not intending to pass to Kevin De Bruyne. But Kevin De Bruyne's run makes Mahrez realize that, that is the pass I should play because there I'm getting run. Stop right here. Look, if we realize De Bruyne hasn't run away from his Real Madrid marker, who up to this point has not reacted. And he wouldn't react because he's saying, I'm passing him on to the other blue shirts, dark blue shirts, who are in the box. And De Bruyne makes the blind side run, right? Between two players. Carvajal now is trying to make up lost ground, realizing what has happened. And he goes to try to intercept.
Too late.
Too late. Speaking of intercept, the second goal, if we get the second goal now, I wish Brent Sancho were here because I'd want him to tell me, as an experienced international class World Cup centre half, why David Alaba felt he should try to win the ball in this position. Usually a defender will jockey, keep the striker in front of him, then force him to have to pass or try and beat him. What he did, he tries to pinch the ball, and that's why he got beaten. Now, mind you, there was a lucky bounce that favoured Gabriel Jesus. But if David Alaba had just jockeyed, just held his position, kept Gabriel Jesus in front of him, that would not have happened. But watch him right here. He will go with the foot to try to just pinch the ball away from Mahrez. If we let it run, you will see. Good job here. Look at him now. He's trying to extend the left leg. Let it run.
Oh, we wanted that angle.
Yeah, so so he just reached in and tried to nip the ball away. Yeah. That's not what you do. And even he, a player of his quality and his experience, will say, I made a mistake. I should not have tried to win the ball in that position. But let's look at some more goals because
and it was too close to the goal. That was too risky.
But before we go to the other goals, George, yesterday when we were previewing the game, we did discuss Casemiro
and
Alaba being questionable, yes, and would have to pass fitness tests just before match time. And I suggested that even if they pass those fitness tests, you still have to feel some level of doubt, because if it is that you're going to wait to the last minute to decide whether they are fit or not, it means that whatever the injury is makes their potential for the game questionable.
Yeah,
and he had to be taken out of the game eventually.
Half-time substitutes, right. So that's where he went to pinch the ball just to nick it away, and he missed his tackle, and it worked out for Jesus right in his path. So even on the turn, it was right within his strike zone. So he didn't have to do much just to place it away from Courtois, and that was the goal. It's a big error from a class player, and yeah, it happens sometimes. Then look at if we look at the goal the first goal that Benzema scored, you can't blame a defender for a goal like that, because there's no way Benzema was supposed to score from here. There was a feed I was following, Lance, which worked it out. They said Benzema from this position had a 1 in 29 chance of scoring this shot, Mariah. 1 in 29. You can work out the percentage. Yeah? And he really ought not to be scoring from there, let alone getting the shot on target. But it was perfection, and no defender you couldn't have asked for more from the defender, except you're going to ask him to haul down Benzema or to slide tackle him. There's nothing more he could have done legally to make it difficult for Benzema on the shot, and yet still the Frenchman found the target with a brilliant touch. Yeah. Absolutely brilliant touch.
That's the difference. Karim Benzema is the difference between the two teams, and I have to say that because, you know, many people call it Real Madrid a one-man team, and Karim Benzema has led them to this point and whatnot. Yes, he has a supporting cast, but George, you realize the moment he scored that goal, Real Madrid, they got back into the game. Their confidence rose, and it was as if, you know, they were winning.
Yeah, I don't like the phrase a one-man team for Real Madrid, though. I know that he's a match winner. I accept that, but you know, with people like Kroos and Modric in the team, it really, in my opinion, is unfair to call Real Madrid a one-man team. I accept Benzema being a match winner, but that's where it is for me.
Let's look at the third Man City goal, because again, we can look at what happened. This was just beautiful play. If we stop it right here, well, if we go just a little bit back, just a little bit further in the build-up before Fernandinho gets possession. So, look, stop right here. So, Fernandinho now is making that run down the touchline. Mendy sees Fernandinho. If we let it run, and you have to turn and go with him. So he turns, the veteran runs by him. All right, excellent stopping right here. Good. Look at Phil Foden. Already, he is in a position where none of the defenders can pick him up, because Militao is tracking Gabriel Jesus' run, who's going towards the near post. Militao is heading towards the near post as well, Lance. At the top of the box, De Bruyne is making that late run into the box. He looks as if he's being tracked by Valverde. And Carvajal, who's at right back, he's too far away from Phil Foden at this point to interfere with him. So Phil Foden's run is brilliant. And then the pass takes out two men. It takes out the first defender, clears his head, then beats Militao as well, and falls perfectly into the lap of Phil Foden, who heads in. It's a brilliant run. It's a brilliant cross. The defending, the communication, bad because it was just too loose, because he was in the position where nobody could pick him up.
Yeah.
That's perfection.
Yeah, and that play highlights the importance of accurate crossing. It's the kind of play that David Beckham perfected, and I see missing so often, even at this level of football. But that is an illustration of how crossing a ball accurately can make the difference between scoring and not scoring.
And if you notice, the cross didn't have to be whipped.
No.
It was just enough to beat the two defenders. If my producer indulges me and just goes back to when Fernandinho gets the ball, I always want to make a point. I've always wanted to make this point, and I haven't had much opportunity. I keep telling people keep talking about speed in world football. Yeah? Stop it right there, just for the moment. It's not really about speed. It's about speed, yes, but it's for the first 5 to 10 yards, because you're really going to find yourself in a situation where you're racing somebody for 40, 50, 60 yards in a football game. It's about 5 to 10 yards, or even 3 yards. Fernandinho is not as fast as Ferland Mendy, the left back for Real Madrid. But in this play, if we let it run now, Mr. Producer, if we let it run now, in this play, the faster Ferland Mendy, Mendy is going one way, Fernandinho is going the other way, and the ball is played in the other way. So Mendy, the faster man, has to turn and then chase back. And in that moment, the slower man, who has the run on him, he's going in the right direction where the ball is going, beats him for pace if we let it go. So see, the faster man is left flat-footed. The slower man gets the cross. It's not about being fast over 20, 30, 40, 50 yards in football. It's about 3-yard speed, 5-yard speed, sometimes 10-yard speed, and a much, much slower Fernandinho out-sprinted Mendy because he was going in the direction where the ball was going, and Mendy had to turn and then chase him. By the time he got there, he didn't get there quick enough to close down the cross. One more now, Mr. Producer. Well, we can leave the penalty out because the penalty speaks for itself. That Vinicius Junior goal is what we call an old-time shift, lads. It's a throwback way of beating a player. No fancy step-overs. It's just as throwback as it's a vintage move that Vinicius Junior utilized to flummox Fernandinho. Look at this. Oh my goodness. How many times have you seen this in your lifetime, Whittaker? You were doing this as a boy at Mona Heights back in the day, and you're still seeing it here many years later.
Easy, and nobody could catch up with him.
Nope.
When he has pace and he got away. He got away, but yeah, good turn.
And the thing again is this, without Kyle Walker in the side,
yes,
none of the City boys could match Vinicius for pace to close him down and to get back at him. As I said, just a vintage throwback move. Let it run, dummy, gone. Excellent finish too. Excellent finish, because the goalkeeper had come to cut the angle and to make himself big, and he still found the angle. So, yeah, a good football game with the defending from both sides, Lance, Mariah, dodgy.
And we've covered the goals that we needed to cover, but I don't want to gloss over
the penalty.
Benzema's penalty, George, because he missed 2 penalties in Real Madrid's last game, and he had a penalty here now. The way he took that penalty showed that this is a player of extreme class and
no nerves
and confidence, because I was thinking he would be nervous. I'm not saying he would miss.
You should tell the fans you should tell them what you were saying in the zone room.
Well, I'm saying I'm not going to kick the ball like that. I'm not wearing no Panenka like that.
And you were doubtful. You were doubtful.
Well, I was saying, coming off 2 missed. George, you don't miss 2 penalties in one match and it not affect you.
Yeah, it
2 penalties in one match.
You're Benzema.
Yeah,
Benzema.
But that's what the point I always make on the show. Yeah. That's why I like Karim Benzema. Anything could be happening off the field. Yeah. Once he gets on, it's like it never happened.
Yeah, well, the way he took this penalty showed me that I was totally wrong, and he was not short on confidence.
Lance,
because I thought he would have doubts. I'm not saying he wouldn't score, George. I'm just saying, approaching the penalty, I expected him to have some level of anxiety because of what happened the last. Not one time, the last 2 times he kicked a penalty.
The reason I asked you to tell the viewers what you were saying in the zone room was that you were very nervous about him taking the penalty because you were saying, well,
Yes.
the point you made.
Yes, yes.
And I was saying to you, no, it's a foregone conclusion. In this game,
Yes.
this magnitude, his team under the cosh, and
Yes.
him needing to score to give them a fighting chance, there's no way he would have missed that penalty. Until they miss them. Let's take a break and come right back and pick up the discussion of the Champions League. We'll talk about Liverpool Villarreal after this break. Still talking Champions League with Liverpool and Villarreal clash in the first leg of their Champions League semi-final on Wednesday. Six-time champions Liverpool are heavy favourites to reach a 10th European Cup final against a Villarreal team who've never before reached this stage of Europe's premier club cup football competition. This is the route both teams have taken to the semi-final. Liverpool besting Inter 2-1 in the round of 16. Villarreal getting by Juventus 4-1. And then Liverpool 6-4 against Benfica. It went a bit wild in the second leg after they had effectively won the tie from the first leg. And then Villarreal with the performance of the Champions League so far this season, overturning mighty Bayern Munich 2-1. And the Bavarians were dumped out by Villarreal. So look at the Villarreal scalps in this knockout stage of the Champions League. Juventus and Bayern Munich. Liverpool have beaten Inter and Benfica. Now the Villarreal head coach Unai Emery insists his team are fully deserving of their place in the last four, and that Liverpool would be wise to respect his players. For his part, the Liverpool boss Jurgen Klopp says Villarreal are a quality team.
We did the proper analysis, and we had all. I had a lot of respect for Emery and Villarreal before, because I saw the games, obviously, but only with one eye against Bayern, Juve a little bit. But meanwhile, I watched them properly, and wow, impressive. Unai is obviously, or looks like, when I watch his team, he's a detail-obsessed manager who prepares for all different situations in a game, and that's what his team is executing. It's really good. Different ways to build up, different ways to press, different ways to react on different results. Really impressive, and obviously Unai is a world-class coach and is doing an incredible job there.
George Klopp there heaping heavy praise on his Spanish counterpart. So, not only will you be able to watch the action on SportsMax live from 2 p.m., 3 p.m. Eastern Caribbean time. The pre-game show, of course, starts at about 1:15. You'll also have a chance to join us live at our watch party at Kingston Jerk. Kingston Jerk is not in Montego Bay, it's in Kingston. You'll have vibes to enjoy, surprises. We're giving away jerseys. We're giving away many things on Wednesday, April 27th at Kingston Jerk. So come out, represent your team. We expect to see a lot of Liverpool red there and a few interlopers in Villarreal yellow. And you can watch us while eating the best jerk chicken in the whole of the corporate area. Yeah, so the semi-final watch party, making it at 8. You can come on down from about 12 midday or 1 p.m. latest. We don't want to see you later than 1 o'clock because you're going to be missing a lot of the prizes and surprises. Kingston Jerk is where it's at. Watch Champions League football, watch our pre-game show before that. Enjoy jerked whatever, the best of it in Kingston. And yeah, it's going to be a good Wednesday, I'm suspecting. All right, yeah. So Villarreal, Liverpool. There aren't any Liverpool, well, there isn't any Liverpool fan here today, but what there is are respecters of Liverpool's quality and the fact that they are arguably the best, well, alongside Real Madrid and Manchester City, they are the three hot teams in Europe, the three teams that everybody else fears. And Liverpool enter this game as howling favourites to win.
Definitely enters howling favourites. They've been flying high for some time. They've been doing well in all competitions across the board. So Liverpool is a team that you cannot take lightly. However, Villarreal, and I just want to put this one on the table, if I'm to do so. Villarreal, especially because they aren't outright favourites, they've figured out a way to reach this point. So, you know, they're a team as well that I would watch very, very carefully, because any slip-ups from Liverpool, and based on what I heard from Unai Emery earlier today, they have rehearsed and worked on even the smallest of things, because they know that they can't afford to even make one simple slip-up. So, you know, they're also coming out to ensure that they do their very best. They're pretty aware that Liverpool are howling favourites, Georgian lands, and they know they have a big job on their hand. So that's why I wouldn't even rule them out.
Well, you can't. It's a given that Liverpool are overwhelming favourites. There's no disputing that. But if you listen to Jurgen Klopp closely, you recognize that he is respecting them. He did say he respects Unai Emery in a big way. He has to remember that Villarreal knocked out Juventus and Bayern Munich in the space of a few weeks. Bayern Munich just completed their 31st Bundesliga title, so
10th on the trot.
Yeah, whereas Juventus may not be the Juventus that we know them to be, Bayern Munich certainly are. So eliminating Bayern Munich is impressive on the log of Villarreal. They were Europa League champions last year as well, and it's not a team to be underestimated. I think they have shown that they are giant killers, because that's what they've done this season. Liverpool favourites, I expect Liverpool to win, but I think they have to pay close attention to Villarreal. Villarreal coming into the game with a lot less pressure than Liverpool, because most people expect them to lose. So it's an opportunity for the players to go out and express themselves.
Yeah, all right. That's about it. Remember, the watch party tomorrow, Kingston Jerk. Don't miss it. And of course, you can tune into the pre-game show on SportsMax, which starts about 1:15 p.m. as we build up to Liverpool versus Villarreal, David versus Goliath, Giant versus Mino, European pedigree versus parvenus. Who will win and take the advantage into next week's second leg? Find out on Wednesday.
Definitely don't want to miss that. And still to come on the SportsMax zone, Waterhouse is maintaining the pressure on league leaders Don Beholden. We'll bring you the highlights from Monday night's matches in the Jamaica Premier League. And the dysfunctional Brooklyn Nets were dumped from the NBA playoffs on Monday night. The Celtics managing to complete a clean sweep. We'll have the highlights, but immediately after the break, cricket expert Fazir Mohammed will join us to discuss the issue of South Africa's former Test captain and director of cricket, Graham Smith, being cleared of racially discriminatory conduct. Stay with us. More SportsMax Zone after the break.
Thank you for watching SportsMax on YouTube. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and to click the notification bell to stay informed.